outside. Okay, so this is sketchy. On the inside, oh, they are the patent leather Jordan 1s. These are the bread colorway. Dang. Now, I've heard stories about pairs, because these aren't out yet. I've heard stories about early pairs where, this is on many channels I've seen this, where the people who get these from the factory, they shove them in their pants and then run out and it like bends them. So like, look at that. If you guys know Private Selection, they told a story about it on theirs. That's where I kind of got the information that people like literally shove them in their pants. So that's kind of funny.
Oh my God, Ronnie.
Hey, somebody grab me some clippers. This fucking beard is weird. Tough talk from a rapper paying millions for security gear. I think my dad's gone crazy. Yeah, Haley, you right. Dad's always mad, cooped up in the studio, yelling at the mic. I'm sober and bored, huh? I know. I'm gonna be 46 years old, dog. Talking about I'ma pull a trick. You sound like a bitch. Man, I've been handling shit. Mad about something I said in 2012. 6 years and a surprise album. Come with a disc. I'm gonna get it. You know that you're the greatest rapper alive. All you do is reach the inside. Bare face with a black shovel like Armageddon. When the smoke settles, his body next to this instrumental. I'm sick of them sweatsuits and the corny hats. Let's talk about it. Being rich and you still mad. Let's talk about it. Black baller rapper that's twice as young as you. It's called Sway. Ask why I can't go up to shape 45 because of you. Let's ask Interscope how you had Paul Rosenberg trying to shelf me. Still can't cover up the facts. Your last 4 albums is.
Guys, before we proceed with this video, I just want you to know this video is for educational purposes only. It's not to bring any negativity to Harrison Neville's name. I could honestly care less about his opinion on the subject matter. He is being used as an example to show you how in the sneaker world people are misinformed. This video is going to bring you insight into the sweatshops, into the sample factories, and also into the fake factories. There are differences, and guess what, guys? It is impossible for these factories that make authentics to make fakes. Their time schedule is insane. Okay, this video will bring insight. It's educational purposes only, and just keep watching and keep your mind open to the subject matter, not negativity.
We plopped down in Tangerang, Indonesia, this industrial suburb outside of the capital of Jakarta, with the plans that for the next month we were going to live as Nike's factory workers lived, which meant that we were going to go live in a workers' slum outside of the capital, and we were going to live on the workers' wages, $1.25 a day for the next month, to try and come maybe to a better understanding of what it's like for Nike factory workers to make this kind of money and live under these conditions. We lived in a 9x9 cement box. It was over 100 degrees, it's 100% humidity, a small window, certainly no air conditioning.
No furniture. You slept on a very thin mat on an uneven cement floor covered in shelf paper.
The streets outside of your home are lined by open sewers, and what that means, like in the rainy season, you would have all that feces just float up into the streets and into your house.
And every time that you go to the bathroom, it comes back out into the sewer for everybody else to see and smell.
You would have football-sized rats that would stampede over the ceiling at night and come up through the toilet and look for stuff to eat in the house, or the fist-sized cockroaches that would crawl over you at night. We would go to different workers' homes. You got like 4 women sleeping in like an 8x8 cement box, and all their possessions are in there. Like everything in this small area.
The workers would have to share a bathroom with 5 to 10 other families. The workers would have to share living quarters, actually like a row of shacks with corrugated tin roofs. All of those families would share a laundry corner and a kitchen facility, and they would all share the same well to take the water out of.
Okay, so let's just get to it. Basically, the guy who's narrating is a really good soccer player, and this college he was at, or the team sport he was at, wanted him to actually wear Nike. They were being endorsed by Nike, and he had a problem with it because he heard about the sweatshops, the poverty living of these people in Indonesia, and he actually ended up getting kicked off the team. I think he had a job at the location, being fired from his job, and so from that it kind of just spiked up some fire in him to go out and see these people living conditions. So from that we see that these people are living in poverty-stricken areas. They don't barely even have belts on. They're really insanely poor. We see sickness can easily get upon them and their family members. Their living conditions are just terrible. So just please keep that in mind as we migrate to the next scene.
They will be working overtime hours just to get by, because they can't possibly get by on the wage that they're paid without working incredible amounts of overtime. And they know from their management how they're supposed to act. And if they don't, there's some severe ramifications, anywhere from significant harassment to death. And I mean that in a very literal sense. Certainly management of the factory didn't want us to be there, and it was kind of frightening because we several times tried to get into the factory.
We weren't out of the van for more than 3 minutes, and there was security like surrounding us, and then the factory managers came out.
What's going on? We're outside a Nike shoe factory right now. Security's kind of surrounded us.
They're like, what are you doing here? Well, why are you here? It was frightening, because who knows?
Security guy here tracking us down.
From that moment, we were tailed by factory security, the Preman, or the local mafia. The local mafia certainly works in conjunction with these factory bosses. The factory bosses some of them are just brutal, ruthless, hired muscle to keep workers in line. And we met with one worker, Giulianto. He told us, because he was union organized and he was trying to form an independent union.
He was threatened at gunpoint. He had his house ransacked. He was given death threats, and he had to flee back to his home village because, in fear of his life. This is literally a life and death issue. And this happens at all the factories.
Every worker that we talked to, struggled with this fear, this culture of fear that just permeates the air.
Now, I've heard stories about pairs, because these aren't out yet. I've heard stories about early pairs where, this is on many channels I've seen this, where the people who get these from the factory, they shove them in their pants and then run out, and it bends them.
Okay guys, so we've just seen that it would be almost impossible to take shoes out of these facilities, these sweatshops. The next video that I'm about to show you is something called a sample facility. It's like the Fintech Corporation, where they produce samples, innovative technology for Nike, but it's small portion programming. They do not mass produce shoes at the facility that I'm about to show you, okay? It's just sample, innovative technology, and any ideas that Nike wants to do to further advance their tech.
We wound our way out to Dolio, that we found a factory out there which was really not any better than any others. What was different was the owner, C.H. Wong, that he was very intense and very dedicated to making great shoes, even though he hadn't made them yet. And I was just impressed with how intense and how smart, and so we said, let's take a chance with this guy. And it worked out pretty good. You get into a price negotiation with the different factories where you would have the CH would sit there with this cost accountant who would be running these numbers, and he'd wait till the number came up. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I want to be cooperative. I can do that. Yeah, no, can't do that one. And so it was always, it gave the appearance of being more scientific than the others.
1992 is an important year. In 1992, Nike and Fengtai with joint venture set up RDC in Asia. Many research from this center created new methods for product creation and mass production, like CNC mold making, casting, injection phylon, computer stitching, reverse engineering. On the product side, we have seen the evolution from classic crafts to modernized crafts. Flight knit, fuse, and engineering mesh upper.
Okay guys, so we just seen two factories. We've seen the first factory where Nike is a sweatshop, they're mass producing the shoes. The second type of Fengtai Corporation sample factory is where they produce innovative tech, and those things are sent over into those sweatshops. Okay, our third segment, I am about to show you where fakes are made. Okay, where I consider this guy to be one of the best. I don't know, maybe there'll be a better one, but it's Kicks Who, and he has really built a passion in trying to replicate these kicks. He has the money, the technology. He lives in a more, how can I say this, more profitable part of Indonesia. He doesn't live in the slums, and he can afford these machines, this machinery to try to duplicate these shoes. You will see in this video, okay, it's impossible for them to make fakes and authentic shoes in the same factory. They are on time schedules, and Nike is always producing, okay? They're always producing non-stop. They would not be able to meet the deadlines of what Nike wants, even more so trying to meet the deadlines of the fake corporation.
It's a retail sample, ripped it up, studied it. they were churning them out, and like if you think, you know, that they were making 1-to-1s in there. That was high quality, that factory. If you think in China those are selling for what, 400 RMB, 450 RMB a pair. You know, sending abroad to the US, they can sell you these for like $100.
Reminding me of a story from who I got this from. Obviously, on one of the episodes, we talked about how they get these out.
Usually when it comes in a no box, it means it was stolen out of the factory, which also means there could be some bins and creases from them stuffing it and hiding it to get out of the factory with it in their possession.
Right,
yeah.
And they're all creased.
Right.
These look pretty good, right?
Yeah.
He had to stuff the shoe completely and let it sit for 2 weeks to get the patent wrinkles out.
Our Travis High back there, it like bows in a little bit because it was just bent for so long that it's just like bad. Even the Seafoam too was super bent, but we're able to get that one off. Someone bought it. You know, some of the pairs are, you know, people understand what's going on and they don't care because they just want to be able to say, I had it first.
So I also made sure for him to pick out the best condition one to send to us because there were some that were gross.
I mean, now that we're doing it on camera, you always want to have the best one.